What's going on, my video viewing audience? This is Leonard Roy, and let me give you some documented fact right here. Numbers don't lie, people do. Blacks in Chicago alone murder more blacks than all of the blacks that were murdered by racist whites during the 100 years of Jim Crow. Blacks do it in 9 years in Chicago. That's Chicago alone. Now, for you all that don't believe me, you could do it yourself. Do the math yourself. Look up the Chicago murder rates that are available since 1960 and add up a whole decade, right? Now, the first group I saw was from 2013 to 2023. Okay, and it said the total murder rate in Chicago for that decade was 6,729. Okay? All right, cool beans. Now, it said that 80% of the blacks that are murdered in Chicago are murdered by other black people. Myself, I say 97%. But we're going to go to 80% that the Department of Justice or whoever it stipulated, right, from their studies. Okay. That drops that number down to 5,383. All right? Now, that's what, if you do the math, like, let me show you right quick. Okay, what was the number? 6,729. What is 80% of 6,729?
80% of 6,729 is 5,383.2.
Yeah, 500. We're not going to get into the 0.2. Leave the 0.2 alone. 5,383. Now, how many blacks were murdered by racist whites during the Jim Crow era, that 100 years? 4,700. Now, since 5,383 is a larger number than 4,700, if you eliminate 583, bodies away from the 5,383 standard, the actual number, that breaks it down to 9 years. You could pick, and you could cherry pick any year. On average, Chicago has more than 583 murders. Some years you have 411. Some you have 414. Some you have 708, 9, 12. So you could minus those many, right? Minus the 583. Because if you pick the lowest number and take that off, you still got to extract numbers from another doggone year. So what does that mean? Oh, that breaks it down even further. That says, okay, so in 8 years, blacks murdered more blacks in Chicago alone than racist whites lynched and thus and so murdered in the 100 years of Jim Crow. That's why I say blacks in Chicago have no moral ground to stand on and say anything about racism, the government, anything. Blacks do blacks more damage than any entity in this country. Just like when they say, blacks say, and not to say they, blacks, they meaning the government, leave guns and drugs in the neighborhood. So what? Blacks will destroy themselves. But you know what? No instructions are left on how to doggone package them narcotics and distribute them. Nobody's forcing them to pull triggers on people in their own neighborhood. Just like these doggone all the rap lyrics is about blah, 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 murder and mayhem. Nobody's forcing them to say those words. But then when they get caught, they want to blame somebody. See, your lower tier, low hanging fruit Black Americans, especially in Chicago, where I'm from, they have a serious problem with accepting responsibility for their actions. Then someone like me says it, then I'm an Uncle Tom, I'm a coon, I'm a sellout. And then the next thing, oh, see, that's why you ain't here now. 'Cause you know they ran you out the hood. They who? See, those low hanging fruit blacks are really something wrong with them. I'm glad I'm not one of them people, those people, you people.